Hello YouTube, today we're going to be checking in on the breeding fish for profit tank. I get a lot of requests for it. I'm also going to try a couple of new things I bought off Amazon, so stay tuned and let's take a look. So here we are, the breeding fish for profit tank. This is a 55-gallon tank with Guppies, Plecos, and of course, cherry shrimp. Lots and lots of cherry shrimp. So if you remember my last update on this, I lost almost all my guppies. I only had probably, 15 or so left. They all died suddenly overnight. But as you can see, we got fry everywhere. We've got a lot more guppies. It's starting to repopulate, so that's the good news. Curious to see what they're going to look like. Looks like this guy got his fin nipped on there a little bit. Nice big female there. This is just a really fun tank. There are just hundreds of baby plecos in here. Lots of snails too. This is kind of where I overfeed the crap out of this tank, so I get lots of snails for the puffer fish. And just to make sure all the plecos are fed, you can see there's just babies everywhere. Over there. Ooh, there's a nice cherry shrimp right there. Oops. There we go, and you can see we got about 2 inches of fish poop. Perfectly normal. But I'm going to get the water pump in here. We'll start a massive water change like always, and then I'll show you what I picked up on Amazon. So before I actually start the water change, I'll show you what I got. This is 2 pounds of natural crushed oyster shell with calcium. So as you can imagine, that's going to be really good for the live bears, really good for the shrimp, and you know, the plecos, they don't really care, but it won't hurt them at all. So before I actually turn the water pump on, I'm just going to dump it in there. We'll see how dirty this is. I'll put links to this down below. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Alright, bag open. We're just going to dump it in and see how dirty this stuff is. Always good to know. As you can see, not really dirty. Dusty would be the better word for it. Definitely dusty. So, going forward, if I plan to keep using this, I think it was like $8 for 2 pounds. But I don't know that it's any cheaper than crushed coral, but I like experimenting for funsies. You never know what you're going to get. Won't get dead fish though, it's not going to harm the fish, so don't worry. I don't experiment with putting the fish lives in danger. Definitely glad I decided to do this before doing the water change, otherwise I would be doing another water change. I'll probably still have to do a couple. I probably should have dumped it on this side to cover up all the fish poop, but there's a lot of shrimp over there, not a lot of shrimp over here. Probably just buried a bunch of snails, but they'll get out of there. Now let's turn this water pump on and I'll show you what else I'm going to experiment with. Now the other thing I got just to experiment with was 5 pounds of tasty grubs, dried black soldier fly larvae. Now this was $50 for 5 pounds. I did link this in my Facebook group. I thought it would be fun to play with. They are a bit bigger than I thought they would be, to be honest, so I'll probably have to crush it up. It would be cool if my puffer ate these, although I don't know. We're going to give it a try. So even coming in at $10 for a pound of fish food, even if all my fish love this stuff, not the best deal, you know, it's not like a mega awesome, super groundbreaking deal, but I do it because it's fun. It's always fun to experiment with new things, try new things, it keeps things nice and fresh, so let's bust this bag open and see if we can get anything to eat this stuff. First things first, does it smell like something fish would want to eat? I don't know if it smells bad, but it definitely does not smell good. And I don't know why I keep smelling it. But kind of smells like chocolate. Like really bad chocolate. I don't know. Let's see if anything will eat it. Alright, so I got it in a little betta cup and I thought it would be hard, but it's actually not. It's probably about as crispy as some nice fresh flake food. So that's pretty neat. So first betta testers here are going to be my African cichlids. Can't really see it. It should probably come down from below. I don't have the best lighting on this tank right now. I've been moving a lot of lights around. But they definitely seem to be going after it. I don't see anyone spitting it back up. No, the rusty cichlid did. Right when I said that, of course. You can definitely hear them smacking away though. I would say probably about 50-50 on this tank. Of course, a lot of these fish are going to be more herbivores than, you know, carnivores, but it's only 38% protein. The Trets seem to love it though. And if anything, all the Petricola catfish down here will definitely love it. But they don't seem too excited. There's still a lot floating around. So let's move on. Better check in down here. We're about 50%. Just making sure I'm not draining it completely. I usually do about 75-ish%. So we got a few more inches to go. We have time to try another tank. All right, let's try this dirty rainbow tank here with even more glare. Good Lord. Let's see. I might try to crush it up a little this time first. Come on. Now I know this does seem kind of big for rainbow fish, and I always say watch what you feed rainbow fish because they have small mouths and small throats. But like I said, this is pretty crunchy. It's just like flake food, so it should break apart. I'd say they went after most of it. Should try it in my big rainbow fish tank, I guess. Let's do it. Although, I did just feed this tank, so that's not very smart. Now I bet South American cichlids would love, like the bigger cichlids would probably love this stuff. I probably shouldn't do that. Alright, let's come down here. Of course, right as I say that, they don't seem interested at all. I will say the rainbows seem to love this stuff. It's kind of dirty. I do have lots of algae on this glass. I haven't maintained this tank as nicely as I should have. Only doing water changes, not scrubbing. But it's about due for an update video on this tank too. I would say pretty successful in here. Even the plecos can smell it. They're starting to come out. I guess these guys just didn't really care about it at all. I bet the quarries would love it too if it eventually waterlogs and floats down. Alright, so the first initial test, I'd say cichlids not so much, definitely rainbow fish, they were all over it. I'll keep trying it on and off throughout the week. Worst case scenario, I can just take this up to my dad's house and feed it to his chickens. They will absolutely go crazy over this stuff, I do know that. So check back in with me if you want to know. Probably by the time this video is out, I'll have a lot more information on just how well this worked out. But let's get back to the breeding fish for profit tank. Alright, so as you can see, I definitely got distracted. I drained this water a little bit lower than I'd like to, so gonna get the hose in there, get this filled back up real quick, and check back in. So we are filling back up, and this is a perfect time to talk about how much do I make on this tank. Now, it's kind of hard to say because I don't go in every week. I don't even go in every other week. Sometimes I only take them in once a month for trade-ins. I will tell you specifically, I get $2.50 per pleco. I get $1.50 for male guppies, full-grown male guppies. That one I would not trade in. I would wait till he's healed up. I get $1 for female guppies, and this is really, really good pricing. I would not expect to get that much if you were just taking them in to your local fish store. You got to know your market, and in my market, guppies are hot items. They sell really fast. So I feel like that's a really good price to get for guppies, especially for how fast you can bang these guys out. Well, I guess they're doing that, but anyways, let's move on. The cherry shrimp, I don't really take in, and when I do, I just scoop out, I don't even know, like 50 or 100, and then just trade them in for a couple packets of frozen bloodworms or something like that. They're all kind of scattered right now, but there's some good ones in there. Looks like a red really kind of, but just a very poor grade cherry shrimp. There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. Like this is pretty decent for me anyways. Not going for show quality shrimp here. Ton of them over here. Now, I do make enough to, you know, buy all my fish food. It does pay for my fish orders. Like this fish order over here, which is nice and dirty. Well, the water's nice and dirty because I just fed them, which is why they're all scrounging around. It paid for, well, this was a pretty expensive fish order. I would say it probably paid for about 15%. So, you know, 15% discount's not bad. It did pay for patches. It's also nice and dirty in here because I just fed him. Here he is. Doing well, doing goldfish things. I got this guy for free because of my in-store credit, so that's pretty neat. So it is an awesome way just to help supplement the hobby. Now, I am not particularly fond of guppies. I did set up this tank just to help pay for the hobby. If I only was limited to a few tanks, I probably would not keep guppies. I'm sorry, but I love rainbow fish, I love apistogramma, and that's gonna lead me into maybe changing this tank out, because I would love to do something different. I've been doing this tank for a couple years now. I mean, I do think it kind of looks cool and it's fun, it's interactive, the shrimp play with you, the guppies don't care about you when you're messing around in there, so it's fun. It does give me lots of snails too for the puffer fish, but I've really been thinking about possibly trying to colony breed apistogrammas, because I guarantee you I could throw in about 10 apistogrammas in here and have them breeding. They would feed off the guppies, unfortunately. They would definitely feed off the shrimp, and they would get nice and big and fat and breed like crazy in here. Pleco going kind of crazy over here. Nice big one up here. Pretty neat. But that's just what I've been thinking about lately. I could literally just drop in 10 apistos and have them breeding in no time. I bet the guppies would even be able to outproduce them, and even the shrimp at this point, because there's easily probably 1,000 or more shrimp in here. Easily, probably like 5,000. It's ridiculous. Once you actually start looking around in here and just seeing that they're everywhere, I could just take a couple of these pots from the back, put them in here, give them more hides, and just start mass producing apistogrammas. I think that would be pretty fun. So I'm really considering doing that. Let me know. I know a lot of people love guppies, a lot of people love this tank, and I'm definitely going to keep it set up for a breeding for profit, but I just want to try something new. So here's a good tip for some people. I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but some might. I mean, I didn't know it at one point. The reason I'm adding this oyster shell with calcium, etc., is because when you look at the snails and you can see their shells are turning white, that means they are calcium deficient, which is why I added that 2 pounds in here. Hopefully it'll help him out. I'm sure the puffer won't mind. It'll help keep his teeth trim with some nice hard shells. There's a nice big pile of them back here. I don't know what's going on back there. But we're almost full, so I gotta pay attention. I'll finish this and then check back in. Alright, so for the new people, we can go over tank parameters. This is an unheated aquarium. My room is heated, so this does stay in the low 70s. If it was up higher, it would be close to 80, but it is on the floor, so it stays at about 72, 73, which is perfectly alright. Obviously, everyone is happy. The pH does stay around 8. I do have to constantly add crushed coral. This time I went with oyster shells. We'll see how that works. If it doesn't, I'll have to add in some crushed coral. Not sure how that experiment's going to work, but it'll be fun. What else? Lighting is the Costco LED light, and I can link that video if anybody wants to know about that light. And filtration is just a small sponge filter over here, and then a large sponge filter over there. Another pretty good sized Pleco there. And that is pretty much it. However, water changes. You saw how much I did today. That's a little more than usual, but I do have to do that every 3 days or so in this tank, mainly because of the Plecos. But other than that, I'll probably do it once a week. So food-wise, this tank does see a lot of different things, mainly vegetables. A lot of cucumbers go in here, specifically for the Plecos. The shrimp pick at it. Even the guppies eat it. If I'm in a hurry, then we go with omega-1 or cobalt flake. Omega-1 is wafers. I would highly recommend against that, because this stuff gets expensive when you're feeding this many fish every day. But sometimes I'm just in a hurry and I gotta drop a few in. And by a few, I mean this many. There's probably about 50 wafers in there. Eventually everything will make their way over. The guppies will peck at it. The shrimp are already starting to find it. You can see this Pleco making his way over. So as you can imagine, it gets expensive fast. My quest to find the perfect algae wafer, still ongoing, still haven't done it. I'm trying to find something that's cost effective and still pretty good. I'm kind of convinced that it doesn't exist, so I just throw cucumbers in here. Every once in a while, I'll put in Soylent Green Rapashi, but that's even more expensive, so, well, maybe not more expensive, but still very expensive. Alright folks, there you go. I hope you enjoyed the update on the breeding fish for profit tank. Like I said, a lot of people have been asking for it, so there you go. I'll put in links to the oyster shells and the fly larva down below, just in case anyone else wants to experiment and have fun with me. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. If you have any questions about the breeding fish for profit tank, definitely leave them below. I'll always answer questions. Otherwise, I will see everyone next time.